The man felt secretly smug, certain his gentle fiancé would swallow her grievances just for the sake of their family's interests. What he had no clue about, however, was that the woman, who'd endured endless unfair treatment, had already shifted her target, setting her sights on his powerful uncle of the Song clan as her new quarry. The whole city simultaneously pushed news of the male lead's cheating scandal, and public opinion spiraled completely out of control, yet the woman stayed eerily calm. She went straight to her grandfather, the head of her family, and publicly proposed calling off their wealthy arranged marriage. Her grandfather saw through the unspoken rules of elite clans at a glance. This marriage alliance tied the interests of two major conglomerates together, so taking the initiative to break it off was tantamount to an outright declaration of war, and her father would never agree to it. But the woman had long prepared a foolproof backup plan. She didn't want to end the engagement entirely, she only wanted to swap the groom. As long as she still married into the Song family, the bond between the two clans' interests would remain unbroken. Her grandfather instantly caught onto her scheme. The man she'd set her heart on was a Zhang, her fiancé's uncle, who held real power in the Song household and masterminded every move. He was also the man who'd secretly promised her a way out long before. Meanwhile, the male lead was getting chewed out by his father over his cheating rumors, yet he couldn't care less. Counting on his fiancé's usual forbearance and generosity, he was convinced she'd back down, smooth everything over, and help him clear his name. Soon, the final straw that broke the woman's patience arrived. The one-of-a-kind wedding dress hand-sewn by her grandmother, which she'd treasured dearly, was torn to shreds in public by the man's mistress. When she broke down in heartbreak, the male lead took the mistress aside without a second thought, even accusing her of overreacting and throwing an unreasonable fit. The woman cut off all affection for him, utterly and irrevocably giving up on him. She sought out her fiancé's uncle on her own and straightforwardly asked to dissolve the engagement. A short while later, the male lead was summoned to a meeting with his uncle. He remained arrogant and conceited, assuming his uncle only intended to mediate the conflict. He was fully confident that her family relied on the Song family's influence, so she would never dare to back out of the marriage. He even dismissively claimed their relationship was nothing more than a mutually beneficial transaction. He thought he held all the cards, unaware he'd already been written off as disposable. The uncle listened quietly to all his arrogant ramblings, only telling him he would step in to settle the public backlash, but the male lead would have to obey all subsequent arrangements without question. Once the male lead left, the uncle immediately ordered his most trusted subordinate to let the male lead and his mistress stay together, while making sure the wronged young lady from the Fu family got full justice. Flashback a few days earlier. Inside the private wedding villa reserved for the couple, the woman caught the mistress hiding there. The male lead acted flippantly and dismissively, telling her to deal with the mistress however she liked, and even blamed her for being petty. The woman said plainly that the presence of another woman in their wedding villa disgusted her, but the male lead mocked her relentlessly, certain she couldn't afford to walk away from this marriage into the Song family. He never realized that long before he'd recklessly trampled on her sincerity, his powerful uncle had met with the young lady in private, and the two had already settled on a brand new future for themselves.